Hi guys, and welcome to the training. I am so glad you made it. That you value yourself and your business enough to have turned up and ready to learn something new, I just want to say well done. Today we will spend less than an hour together. It's jam-packed, so turn off your phone, turn off your email, throw some food at your kids to placate them, and download the workbook. And grab a pen. Now I want you to get as much as you can today, so I'm blackmailing you. Stay until the end and I will give you access to my Profit Maximizer checklist, which is valued at $197 and it's yours for free. This checklist will step you through all the places in your business that poor communication could be draining you of your profit. Now this is brazen, I know, but I want you to stay till the end so you get maximum value. You and your business are worth it. Now download the workbook, grab that pen, make sure it works, and get comfortable. This is your time. Let's take a deep dive into what you can start doing now to improve your life, to reduce stress, and to improve productivity, to grow that engaged team, improve your relationships, and improve your business. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but it can all be yours. You're worth it. Let's get started.
Hi and welcome to today's training. Today we're going to talk about ensuring that your business remains on track and achieving all that you want, not becoming a nightmare. I would like to share with you how you can unlock the most valuable asset in your business. Research by Harvard Business shows that it's the people in your business, the human potential, that is your biggest asset. And that starts with you. Now there is a workbook that you can download, so please go ahead and do that and make sure that you've got a pen. Now let's get into it. My goal is to help you harness your strengths. And to do this, we start with you and your most critical skill, communication. We will focus on developing an understanding of your strengths as a communicator and how you can harness this in your business so that you can kick all of the goals that you have set for yourself. Now you might be asking, why communication? It's because it is the foundation of everything we do. I want you to think about a time in your business that it isn't important. Now this picture and this idea might be confronting for many of us. You see, we start our business with a dream in our hearts and in our minds. We have a vision for what our future is going to be like with our business. But for most of us, this does not become a reality. Either it's harder than you think, and that business dream becomes a nightmare. Maybe you started a business for freedom, yet you're chained to your business. Even at home, you just don't switch off. Your mind's always turning over what you've got to do next. Maybe if you're a parent, you aim to get to more school functions because you're in charge of your time, but you don't. There's always too much to do. Perhaps your partner is always telling you you're never at home, and if you are at home, that you're just not present. Regardless, I want you to take the time to write down the dream. You see, it's critical that you remember your reason why. That is your fuel. That is what keeps you going. So what is the missing piece of the puzzle for business owners? The one thing that can bleed profit, cause stress and tension, affect relationships, waste time and money, and keep you awake at night? When you break it all down, it comes down to communication. How you communicate with yourself, your staff, your customers, and your family. You see, every part of your business relies on communication for it to be effective. Think of lead generation, marketing, sales, customer service, leadership, service provision. It's all about communication. And I want to ask you, how effective are you? What are you like under stress? How equipped are you to adapt your communication if what you're doing isn't working? As much as you try, you just can't ignore it. Now, I'm sure that anyone listening can think of a time when they've experienced poor communication. Now, the effect that this can have internally and externally in our business can be devastating. Whether it's staff not performing at their potential, stress in your relationships, poor customer service, dealing with difficult people, it all comes down to communication. This can cause a lot of issues in your business personally and professionally. Now, just think about this statistic for a moment. Research shows that up to 32% of profit can be lost due to poor communication. I want you to think of your profit right now and take 32% off that. How does that look? On the flip side, improve communication and add 32% to your bottom line. How does that look? Another interesting stat. 95% of people leave bosses, not jobs. Now, this is purely related to the amount of tension and stress between people in the workplace. I want to ask you, as the business owner, how much does it cost you when someone leaves? Many statistics say that it's a minimum of a month's salary plus the investment in training. But the thing that isn't captured is that lost experience and wisdom from that person that left the business. Maybe they didn't write down everything they did. Maybe they didn't record all of the processes that just made things work. And now they're gone. Now that is priceless. Now, one last stat, which is really important, and that is that 68% of all relationship breakdown is caused by poor communication. So not only can this ruin your business, but also your private life, which makes no sense when most of the time we start a business to support our private life. There's no doubt about it, poor communication kills relationships. For example, maybe you haven't got enough customers. The market doesn't see your value. Are you communicating your unique selling point? Are you marketing enough? Are you communicating the way your ideal customer wants to be communicated with? What about productivity? Are you communicating your expectations to the people that work for you? Do your team feel supported and empowered to do their job? What if someone's underperforming? Have you spoken to them about their performance? Or are you like most business owners and you avoid those conversations like the plague? It's costing you big time. What about at home? Are you taking that stress home? Stress makes all of us into awful communicators, which only adds to the stress and tension you're already going through. Many of us become negative, pessimistic, hard to talk to. We become awful listeners, dogmatic, and the list goes on and on. Now, I ran some pretty heavy stats past you, but I wanted you to think about what is the cost. Think about your best client. What would it cost your business if they called you tomorrow and said they're moving on? What about your staff? How much does it cost you to lose them, then to rehire and train the new person? Do you have one key person in your business that if they left tomorrow, you'd be stuffed? And what about stress? Stress makes you unwell and you might not be able to work for a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks. What about a year? Now, the reason I say this is because this actually happened to me just over 3 years ago. I was feeling unwell, it had crept up upon me, and eventually I went to the doctor. They ran some tests, and from me thinking that I was imagining things, I was a hypochondriac, within 10 days, I found myself being booked in for surgery and chemo. I had cancer. My business had to close its doors for a year, and that was with a really fast recovery. Now, what would happen to you if you had to close your business tomorrow for a year? Do you have the systems in place? Do you have the communication platform in place to make sure that your business will keep running? The reason I mention this and the reason I mention my personal story is because each of us has our own Achilles heel. Whether it's how you treat yourself, like me, avoiding stress and being a workaholic, or how you deal with your team, are you effective? Do you understand how to bring out the best in your team? What about your customers? Do you know how to bring out the best in this critical relationship? Do you have good boundaries? Can you say no? Are you able to attract the ideal customer to your business? Or are you completely overwhelmed and just feel like it's all too much? You see, owning our communication, knowing and owning our strengths and challenges is a great start. Because I know without a fact that better communication equals better results and gives you better profit. Communication is an essential skill for any human, but for leaders in business, it is key to a healthy and profitable business. Research shows us that communication skills are essential for leaders. It's how we get things done. It's how we influence others, solve problems, encourage people, help, and share the vision. And if you're in business, you are in a position of leadership. Now let's look at how communication can affect your business. There are so many ways that profit can dive, that staff can be underproductive, customers can be unhappy, problems aren't dealt with and put under the rug, people at work may not get along or like each other, maybe meetings just aren't happening, or when they do happen, they're a complete waste of time. Leadership might feel lost, the stress builds, and before you know it, you are heading for a disaster. Now look, if you're listening to this and you cannot relate, then I am so happy for you. That is fantastic. But the problem is, each of us is only one problem, one accident away from this happening. So you need to have a strategy in place to ensure that you are able to deal with this when it happens. Now, I'm speaking with business owners all the time, and we come across common communication problems in business. And as we go through each one, I want you to think about what you relate to, and there's space in your books for you to do this. Struggling with staff. Maybe you need to grow and you're not sure how or who to hire or what you need them to do. Maybe you've got staff and they're just not doing what you ask, and you need to have a better way of getting through and communicating with them. Maybe you're not getting the best out of your team. You know that it could be smoother, that it could be more efficient, that you could motivate people more effectively. Did you even know that each person in your business needs something different from you as the business owner? Now that could feel like a lot, but when you understand how this works, it's actually not that overwhelming. And are you communicating enough? So much of the time I'm speaking with business owners that think that their team just knows what the problems are and they just can assume what they should do next. But the thing is that they don't. As the leader in your business, you need to be communicating enough to ensure that every person in your business is on the same page. What about wasting time with misunderstanding and repetition? How many times have you had the same conversation with the same person about the same problem and it's still not fixed? It's completely exhausting. If you're doing something and it's not working, you need to change what you're doing. What about dealing with people that you don't understand? All of us have someone in our world that just drives us crazy or that we don't understand, and you need to know how to recognize when that's happening and put some really simple things in place to ensure that this doesn't happen to you. You also need to be careful about taking stress home to your family. Your family are your biggest supporters. They're usually the reason that you got into business in the first place. They are your supporters. They are your cheer squad. We need to be looking after those relationships, and stress can kill them. And what about this idea of work-life balance? I know when I deal with business owners that most of the time they have the work part but not the life part, which is really interesting because many of us get into business to create a life for ourselves. We're just not doing the right things to ensure that we have this balance in place. And what about dealing with customers? Are your customers the ideal customer for your business, the ones that turn up and love your service and pay the right price? Or are they people that it's like getting blood out of a stone? They don't fit, they're hard work, and as they walk in the door, you just think, oh, not again. You need to know who your ideal customer is. You need to know how to pitch to them, and then when they come in the door, have the ability to deal with them well. You see, it's key to identify and address poor productivity. Many business owners that I work with don't know how to do this. So they let things go, hoping it's going to improve, and they let things go. And the thing is that the problem just grows. And before you know it, you don't know what to do next and you are pulling your hair out with frustration. The sooner you can address poor productivity and stop it in its tracks, the sooner your business is going to grow and flourish, and you'll be on your way to that business of your dreams. Now, it's key to identify and raise awareness to what it is that you are facing, because we can only fix what we're aware of. I've never met a business owner that couldn't improve some of the ways they operate to become more efficient. However, to really do this well, the best starting point is you. What makes you who you are? To help you understand yourself and others as communicators, I've developed my own concept of communication styles, and I've called it your communication DNA. It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you tick, and it's also what you can struggle with. Now, I've got a picture of our communication DNA style here, and as you can see, there are 4 different communicators. Now, we all have a bit of all 4, but usually we have 1 or 2 dominant styles. Now, we've got the powerful, the playful, the patient, and the perfectionist. Now, all these words mean they're a describing word for the most noticeable attributes of these communication styles. So, what I encourage you to do is, as I step through a few aspects of these communication styles now, I just want you to think about what you relate to, and I want you to be thinking about the different people in your business as well. Now, this is something that when I'm working with a business owner, we go into a much greater depth of knowledge about this. But let's just start for now. So the powerful communicator. These guys are known as the doer. They are results oriented, they are achievement focused, they are fast, they are productive, and they work really hard. The next one is the playful communicator. These guys are the talkers. They are magnetic and fun. They love to tell stories. They use lots of words. They're entertaining. The patient communicator is more of the supporter. These guys are the complete opposite of the powerful communicator. They're more reserved and in the background. They like to help people. They love harmony in their relationships, and they are a much more supportive communication style. And the last one is the perfectionist, and these guys are more of a thinker. They are analytical, they love quality, they love things to be correct, and they think in processes. So just thinking about these 4 styles, I'm sure that you can see that you might be wired more towards one than another. Now, for example, my 2 most dominant styles are the powerful and the perfectionist. Now, my husband is the opposite to me. He's the playful and patient communicator. Now, you can be a combination of any of these styles. The trick is, and the key is knowing what your style is. Now, I encourage you to learn what makes you tick, whether it's this model or another one, because this is the most critical starting point for understanding yourself. And it's only when you understand yourself that you can begin to understand others. You see, we're all wired one way, and everyone else that we interact with is wired in a different way. So that's why communication can fall down. In my programs, I take people through their own personal DNA discovery process. But for now, just listen in and see what you relate to. Now, what I want to do here is look at the different aspects of leadership that these communication DNA styles bring, because each has their own strengths in leadership and their challenges in leadership. And this is critical for you to know, because being a business owner, you are automatically a leader. So I want you to think about what you relate to out of these strengths and challenges. Let's look at the powerful communicator first. These guys are decisive in leadership, which is a great skill. They love to make decisions. They're not put off by making decisions. They're able to look at things and be strategic and make that decision quickly, which in business is a skill. The playful communicator is optimistic, which is a lovely trait in leadership. They are open, they're positive, they're looking for the good in things, which in a leader is a wonderful quality. The patient communicator is more predictable. Now, this is a great skill because in leadership, we need to be trusted. And when someone is consistent and predictable, it builds trust very quickly. And the perfectionist communicator in leadership is really good at driving high quality. Now, in business, this is expected. If you don't have high quality service or standards, you will lose customers. So this is a natural skill that the perfectionist brings to a business and to a leadership role. But what about the challenges? Well, the powerful communicator has this ability of taking over. You see, powerful communicators can like control, which means that they don't like letting go of things and they feel like they can do things better than other people. Now, the problem in business is that, first of all, in leadership, you will not have someone following you if you keep on taking over from them. And second of all, you will never grow because you can't do it all. So part of the challenge for the powerful communicator is learning how to let go and leverage. The playful communicator can overpromise. Now, this can be directly related to their optimism. They can see things and get excited and go, yes, of course we can do it in a week, when their team's going, oh God, it's going to take at least 3. Now, overpromising in a business is not something that you want to do. So this is a challenge for the playful communicator to really rein in. The patient communicator can struggle with change. Now, I want you to think about how often things change in our business and in our lives. So as a leader in business, as a patient communicator, it's really critical that you have strategies and processes in place to support you with change. You can learn how to cope with change, but if you don't even know it's a problem, then how will you cope with it? And the perfectionist communicator, well, they can expect perfection. Now, this can really hold you back in business. First of all, it's really hard on anyone who works for you if you are expecting perfection from them, because perfection really exists in only very isolated cases, and it never exists with people. People are not perfect. We are far from it. The other place that it's a real problem is that a lot of the time the perfectionist leader will not move forward with something because it's not perfect. But in business, we need to try, test, tweak, and move on. And that's the continual process that you're in. It actually never stops. If you're expecting perfection, you may never take that first step, which just means that you are stagnating and stopping your business from growing. Now, something that is key is that you need to have a strategy in place if you are going to grow your business and deal with all of the issues around communication. Now, what I've covered with you today is only the beginning. When you understand yourself, you begin to see just how many areas that your communication DNA influences. From dealing with problems, facing stress, having fun, relaxing, achieving goals. It truly affects everything. And until you understand this for yourself, you are really not able to unlock the most valuable asset in your business, and that is that human potential. To unlock your best asset, you need a strategy, you need a plan, and the great news is I've already built it for you. But to get better at anything, it takes practice and it takes action. You can't simply become a better communicator by reading a book about communication. That's a start, and it's a great start. I encourage it. But you need to put things into action. It's like watching this training today. There is some gold in here, and I put my best information here for you guys because I want you to grow and change and create the business of your dreams. But if you look at this training today and then don't put anything that you learn into practice, it won't change. To become a truly great communicator, it takes action. Now, when you've got a strategy in place and you're taking action, the things that you'll notice about your business are that you've got happy and engaged staff. You've got repeat customers who love coming into your business. You're able to deal with issues before they become problems. You've got better productivity, which means better profit. And you've got a strategy in place, which means that you aren't going to be one of those businesses that are losing up to 32% of their profit. Now, for a business who has a turnover of $500,000 a year, that's $160,000 down the drain per year. The great news is This is easily fixed. Now, if you relate to any of this, I just want to encourage you, don't continue to struggle alone. You deserve better. So let me check in. We've gone through a lot so far and you might be feeling overwhelmed. Does this all feel too hard? I know what you mean because I've been here, I've been where you are, and I'm here to show you how to master this in your own business. What you need to start with is understanding yourself, and from there you can build into that to know your team and what makes them tick, what works and what doesn't. So we've covered a lot today in a very short session. I know your time's precious and I know this can feel overwhelming, but I want to speak to you for a moment about some help that I can offer you. I'm really excited to introduce to you my most popular program, which is called How to Harness Your Strengths as a Communicator in Your Business. This is a foundation skill for you as a business owner. It's where you can begin to harness your biggest asset, which is you. Until you've done this, it's truly not possible to harness someone else's skills in your business. So it's key that you get these foundations right. Now, remembering back to this idea of your business being a dream or a nightmare, I encourage you to go back to that first question I asked you and focus on your dream and really revisit that, because you deserve it. And you're only a few good decisions away and actions away from creating it. So if you would like to increase the productivity in your business, increase the profit, build a highly engaged team, be able to bring out the best in your staff, deal with issues early, reduce stress, and get more done in less time, then you would benefit from listening to what I have to share with you. Now, relax. There's nothing for sale right now. This is purely sharing information. If you want to harness your biggest asset in your business, I want to share with you what this looks like. And so I've got a bit of a snapshot here as to what we cover. First of all, people that come along and work with me, they get to learn their communication DNA, they get a copy of my book, and they also get a workbook to work through all of the exercises. You get access to my online program, How to Harness Your Strengths as a Communicator in Your Business. Now, I designed this as an online program because you guys are busy. You don't have time to take a lot of time out of your business, so I've created this to be flexible and adaptable to your needs. You'll learn your unique communication DNA. This is the asset. If you know your strengths, you can use them. If you know your challenges, you can put a strategy in place to overcome them. You'll complete your own communication DNA blueprint. Now, this is basically a snapshot of what you need as a communicator and what you offer. This snapshot in itself is so invaluable. It in a moment can change unhealthy patterns of connecting with others. It can help you to change as a leader. It can improve your personal relationships. You'll understand your assets, but also your liabilities, and develop strategies to improve those liabilities and put something in place to actually overcome them, which is key. And you'll get a 90-minute coaching session with me to strategize on your biggest pain points. Now, this is critical because during this session, you'll not only have access to my signature process for unlocking your biggest asset, but you'll also have access to over 15 years of experience of me helping people just like you to understand yourself as communicators. You can ask your biggest questions, share your concerns, and I'll be able to show you how with some simple changes, small tweaks, and a different perspective, you can shift and solve things that you've been struggling with literally for years. Now, this is truly priceless. How do you put a value on lowering your stress, on improving your relationship with your partner, on bringing out the best in your employees? This is truly hard to place a value on because it doesn't show up on the balance sheet, but it costs you money. It costs you stress and frustration. And when things aren't working, it affects every area of your life. Now, this process is available by application only. So if you're interested, you need to head to this link on screen to book in a strategy session. The link will be sent to you following the training also. And here you can openly discuss how communication might be holding you back, and I will show you how I can help you overcome this issue and help you take your business to the next level. But you need to make the first move. This alone tells me a lot about how you approach your problems. Are you an action taker, or are you more passive and like to sit back and wait and see what happens? You see, people that are the most successful in this space are the ones who are willing to take responsibility and do what it takes to solve the problem. It only takes a little action and a little commitment. For example, you might be struggling to say no and feeling completely overwhelmed. I could work with you and give you specific communication skills based on your communication DNA that will allow you to learn how to say no. But if you don't practice this, if you don't actually do it, it won't work. So this strategy call is not only for you to check me out and see if you think I can help you, but it's also for me to check you out and see if we're a good fit. You see, I find nothing more frustrating than showing someone the answer and then watching them not do it. So guys, just don't waste your time and your money, because if you're not willing to do what we talk about, then things won't change. To truly unlock your biggest asset, it all starts with you and your communication. Learn to understand yourself as a communicator, your partner, your team, your customers, and you can ensure that your business grows and flourishes into all that you've dreamt it can be. Understand yourself first, then begin to understand others. Understand your stress signals and learn how to manage them effectively. Understand how to recognize stress in others and how to manage that effectively. Have a communication strategy, and the business of your dreams is in your hands. Unlock your biggest asset, and it all starts with your communication.